I'm sorry about the last video. I tried to drop one and I had a couple of things in my background. Too much noise and too much wreck is not good for when you're making a video. But anyway, I'll go back to explaining what I meant to explain on the last video, which was the recruitment and the end process. Now, end process is more likely the thing that happens before a recruit will ever be pretty much it'd be during the time that a recruit would be evaluated and then brought into TPN for actual recruitment. As far as recruit before basic training, and that'd be another video I'll cover, I would say mainly after this one. But just to be real clear, this is how it works. Recruiters normally in TPN has their sole purpose to recruit in different areas, and it's a broad perspective. Like the broad perspective is pretty much highlighted because it means from support to training to special forces to tactical on down to maybe or I said support, but political and staff. It's one of those things that the recruiter will have to keep open mind for. Now here's the catch to it. There's supposed to be a recruiter for each department normally. In the beginning stages it was not like that before. There had to be a recruiter for all different departments. But TPN has now implemented a way where a recruiter will be for each sole purpose. In other words, you have one that's strictly looking for people who's good on support. You have one that be looking for people who may be constantly online, and not just that constantly online, but good for anything that might be in a tactical department. You have ones that's looking strictly for people with big minds and intelligence and political diplomacy and all that. That is strictly in the political department. You have ones that looking for leadership roles and think that this person, if they go far, they'll be a great boost to the organization. Then that will lead to staff, and then you go as the list goes on. You have one that might be looking for a trainer. Even trainers have their recruits, which is usually the staff. Staff would go around recruiting pretty much people that can be automatically put in that position. But a lot of times it might work the other way around. You might have somebody who might come up from the bottom to the top. So it works in it kind of works in a multi-purpose way. Like it could go either which way. It can go down, it can come from down, or it can come from horizontal. Meaning we saw you, we placed you here, there you go. You a perfect fit. Um, there are other things about that has to be very much, I guess, sorry, what's the word? In other words, the staff will have to pay attention to it and observe it more closely, and they will have to be very cautious when doing the other way around. So their recruiters are more strict. They look for any type of flags, and if it's a flag given, they're usually the ones quick to act. If not, then they're not good as far as staff. Different protocols and different measures are set up, and they work in different ways on each level. So that being the case, there you have it. Recruitment can mean so many different things. Because a person is recruit or potential recruit, or they are being recruited, doesn't mean necessarily they're going to follow through. A lot of times they might not even make basic training. We might find something that just really would not work with us, or we might find they have a bad habit of doing things, and it constantly shows itself over and over again. When this happens, the recruit meets end process. End process is basically like the interview, and what the interview does is, I will sit here at this very same desk in a formal outfit, and the recruit can show up any kind of way. I interview and see what they are on. What are you looking for in TPN? Okay, what brought you to TPN? If they say they heard about it and this, that, and the other. I also I find out things where you came from, what's your background, who you know. I ask you, do you have any experience in so and so? How good are you to doing this or that, depending on what you want to do in TPN. Usually, when recruiting, we tell them the different things that's available in TPN. We talk a lot more about it. Not too much, but it's like advertising. You need to pitch something. It's like a thing called an elevator pitch. Um, you pitch it, and if they snag or bite, then you might draw them in. You cannot be totally quiet about it. You just let them know, look, this is a little bit what it's about. We hunt trolls. If anybody who needs to get the win needs the trolls, um, we protect other people. We make sure that the community lobbies stay balanced. We help people in their problems and their issues. Some of us counsel people or let them know what's going on due to online bullying and whatnot. We mediate things or problems to, come up with a better solution. That way things is not breaking out. We do make allies. We do make friends. We are pretty much, our motto is we are the guardian angels as well as the grim reapers of trolls. We are the guardian angels of people who are not trolls. So that's pretty much where we in play are pretty much place ourselves, like the middleman that you really don't quite see. You would never know which one of us are in TPN because we never hold our clan, our group, clan, or anything as far as tasks go. We never really show them. We might have them, but who's to really say we really dedicated to that clan? The thing is, if that happens, I had to implement it when I really thought about it. I was like, that doesn't make sense. I made sure that, if you had these clan tabs, and now I got to do background checks. The first process was very complicated because if you don't do things in the beginning, it's kind of harder doing it in the middle while you're on the go. So I did a background check of each of these clans, and the ones that I really thought was questionable, I said you gotta drop that one and take this IGN tag because we all know who IGN is, and clans like that, GameStop or whatever. Um, and that's what happened. So as I was doing this, I made it to where we are actually like ghosts completely. You will never know which one of us are one of those people when we are called going to act and do certain things. Like we might be cool with you one moment, but then the fact is, if we notice you're a troll, and you one of those high trolls, I mean HVT, high value targets, then yeah, you are going to find out then. It's not made to backstab people. Although I must admit that a couple of times that has occurred where we was cool with somebody and we end up finding out they was the biggest troll of them all, or they was with somebody who they had no business being with. So usually what we first try to do, we try to push them away. And a lot of times that didn't work out well, so they try to come back. When they try to come back, we pretty much put emphasis on it. Like, look, we don't want you around us. Skedaddle, get on now, get. So basically, that's the thing. That's pretty much what recruitment is like. Now, the end process, and back to that, I'm sorry I kind of left off on it. It's like I interview you, I ask you, what do you think you can do? After we present it and name a couple of things to you and advertise to you, what are you good with? What can you bring to the table? What can you do? And then you'll say whatever you think you can do, what you think you could bring to the table, and then we'll look on that and say, okay, this is what you got down, and then we'll describe that position in depth for them, so they can understand that if or if not they're going to be able to fit this position. If they do not, or if they are not able to fit the position, we allow them to look for something else, and they'll just say, tell me a couple more things, or sometimes they might say, all right, well, I just want to be such and such and such. Now, nobody ever shoots straight to leader. It's one of those things we don't even mention. We would never mention, oh, you're going to be a leader and this and that and the other. We don't want to geek them up and make their head go big. We don't want to, we don't want no brain. as far as not the good brain, but the brain. Like, okay, my head is big, I'm a narcissistic, and I believe I can rule the world. We don't want that. Basically, we want to find those better attributes, optimize them, and make them use them perfectly what we have aligned. If we do it any other way, then it breaks down a process as far as them developing, as far as growth, um, even as far as them taking some of this real professionalism and different traits to real life. Because I have seen people do it and it has worked fine or well, put it that way. In process, also, we give you a little idea of what you are potentially getting into. We give you a little, we go back through the history. We tell you about it. We show you we'll give you something as far as sorry, it's 2 days. I think I'm missing something. There's 2 days to end processing usually. The first is part one and part two. Part one is the end process where it's the interview. It's the interview, but the thing is, I take you out, or somebody in that matter, as far as in one of the departments, take you out there, show you what is out there, how we utilize and handle different things, as far as where you would be, what you can be expecting, um, how your they give you um, a brief summary of what BCT or basic training. I won't say basic BCT, but basic training is like. Once they tell you what basic training is like, you have an idea, you have some sort of clue. Although we might have not told you everything, it's pretty much a lot of what you should expect. Basic training also is mentioned kind of thoroughly as far as the requirements to pass. So we have them to come along with whoever's in that department. They explain the rules, regulations, codes, the values, the customs and courtesies. Some things briefly more than others, but custom courtesies, they explain them because it's very important. And let them know the different trainings. Let them know that, more about different departments, the chain of command, the uniforms, and that's mainly it. And they will give them a study guide. They take them around San Andreas and give them a study guide. They'll take them around San Andreas and explain each area, and that will be, they'll say this will be on a quiz. I need you to write this down. Usually before they even mention any of it, they will tell them, I need you to write this down, or I will need you to take a tablet, pad, because you're gonna need to know this. Have it as a backup. So whenever you forget this stuff, you can just look up in there and be like, oh, because some people are good with memory, some people are not. But we would rather have you to have a backup, because if you ever forget this, then whenever you forget something, depending on how severe it is or how it's looked at, it could be a possible warning, led up to a reminder, like a warning and a final warning, and then the third is you getting kicked out because you are supposed to know these things. So it's that kind of like on that level, it's kind of intense. It's not too intense, but it's intense enough to where it's like nearly dummy proof. And yeah, it's supposed to be dummy proof. This, unfortunately, or fortunately, is dummy proof. Another thing is that after doing these things, we bring you back. We ask you, when do you want to get an interview, or what time will work for you. We also let people know that, hey, this is another thing that's important. You work, as far as all you gotta do is spend 1 hour. You can spend 1 hour a day, simple as this, because we know people deal with life, and so we'll tell them, like, do your job for 1 hour each day, or if you can keep doing, if you can at least do 30, because the minimum required for a month is 30 hours a month. So you can pop on each day, or maybe you want to go 2 hours, maybe you want to go 3 hours, vice versa. or so forth. And that's pretty much it. Even as a leader, me, I put much more time in, even past that, because again, I'm a leader. Same with a lieutenant. Same with anybody in a leadership position. They're going to be on a little more than the average Joe. It's their job. It's kind of like something they will have to do just to make sure they have everything covered. If a leader doesn't do it, then that's not a leader. A leader goes far and wide. Just saying. Alright, now that I covered that, this is how recruitment and process go. When they come back, we quiz them. And for the quizzing, or for the quiz, they can get 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, all the way to 100. Now, here's the thing. If a person gets, let's say, there's one, each question is worth 1 point, but you can multiply that by 5 if you can answer the questions behind that question. It's like a question. So let's say if I say how many departments there are, and you'll say 7. Okay, I might be like, okay, how many, name each department. Well, automatically, we kind of revamped this, by the way, but automatically, there's about, well, for us mainly, there's definitely 7 departments, except 6 are more accessible depending on you. So it's 6. It's 7 altogether, and it's 6. Then, if you also remember that the elite department is within the special forces department, well, guess what? That makes it 7, or not 7, but completely 8 departments. It's hidden, but it's there. So, altogether 8 departments. If you explain what each department is used for, or what their job is, then that's another 5 points. And it just goes on and on. Right there, you just knocked out 15 points. So it's kind of works like that. And if a person goes to like 30, usually they low. Usually that's like almost on the same page as a foot soldier. If it goes to like, I would say 40, you possibly looking at maybe a team leader. If it goes to 50, actually, in actuality, I'm sorry, I have to change this because it's been revamped as well. If they hit 30, then that means they don't pay attention. They're not really qualified. They like the low of the low, but they potentially have hope. But the thing is, when they hit that 30, they like foot soldiers. 40 is team leader. They have. It's gonna be a while, but as they climb the ladder, they can possibly get there. If you're looking at, I would say 50, pretty much, that's it. I mean, you are looking at a leadership position, possibly. It's just that you will have to go through the process, but we are looking at your report. Your report seems good. If you have 60 is pretty much where we start saying, okay, this guy's a little different. You might be looking at a head of a department or whatever. I remember talking to my mediator about this. Basically, my assistant, I call him many things because again, on his end, he's like kind of like multi-tool, and we exchange ideas back and forth, and he questioned it in so many different ways. And so the thing was, how do we make that work? So we did it like 3 times, and even now I'm still trying to find out a scale that really, really works. But my guess right now that I'm working on is that you want somebody in leader position that knows a lot. And so if you want something like that, you gotta hit 100 point blank. If lieutenant status is 100, if you hit higher than 100, I'm looking at my next possible lieutenant. If you hit 90, you looking at possibly being a staff in a staff department, somebody who's really high value. Um, 80 would be the head of a department. 60 would be, or 70 would be squad leader. 60 would be assist or team leader, or I said squad leader. Yeah, team leader. Now 50 would be your person that is they just got qualified because they need to know a good portion of what's going on and how to react and this, that, and the other. 40 is like a drop off, so it's kind of high. 40, if you make 40, that's just like you barely making it. You was barely paying attention, then we'll tell you to try again. If you hit, I would say 30, that means you totally wasn't paying attention at all. You wasn't studying. So we automatically say, hey, you have one more chance to do this, and you gotta improve. If you depend on you, it's like a sword going both ways. Either if you show us you improve, you can get another chance. As long as you're showing progression. If you hit it off top, then you win. If you don't show that you are progressing, it's like even worse. Then you get it's no more quizzing. We done with you. Is nothing we can do at that point. It's nothing we are going to try to do. For a person that hits 40, however, they can test 3 times before we decide that we done quizzing you. It's not going to work. Now here's the thing. That is just the half, or that's just the intro to basic training, to be in fact. But it's just called the in processing. But again, that is that. Simply said, simply done. The only place that will ever get quizzed at is usually in the leader's building. So whatever CEO building they have, that is where they will get their quiz, or get quizzed and ask many questions and get their interview. And it starts from there. If I had a lieutenant, usually it will start from here. Any support staff that's working directly through me, like a bodyguard, right here in my office will get interviewed. So that is the thing. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Matter of fact, just leave a comment if you want to. I think I set my YouTube channel as far as to leave comments. But hey, that's pretty much it. Anything you have to ask, just let me know. I make a video to explain them and answer the questions. Or if you know me, you can ask me directly. I'm pretty sure. That means if whatever, whatnot. Usually anybody. Never mind. I just thought about that whole statement. But yeah, that's if I communicate with you more. Some people I have friends, but not everybody I'm that close to that has my current contacts. Alright, this is D the Legacy from TPN, the leader of TPN. I'm out.